Alright guys, so here's this Polaris Ranger that I was working on. Wanted to give you guys an update on what I figured out. Did have it spitting and sputtering a couple times because I got it to fire and cleaned the carburetor and whatnot. And just by that time it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. So I was just kind of tired of working on it. Working on it for about 8 or 10 hours, messing through the wiring and looking up a bunch of stuff online. Hard to find anything online because I didn't know the exact model year or anything like that. So I tried to find information on the frame and whatnot and couldn't really find anything. So I'm guessing it's like between a 2000 and a 2007 Polaris Ranger 570. I was looking specifically for the carbureted single cylinder, just going by what I actually knew what was on it. But I'll show you the wiring mess that I figured out. So first of all, there's supposed to be the whole hood is missing, and the battery sits up in here somewhere, or maybe in this little pocket somewhere. Anyway, looking at other ones, there's a solenoid that goes up here, which is completely missing, which there's a bunch of wires that are cut and whatnot. This little spot for where the batteries connect up, or where the wires connect up. One of them's the ground, one of them's positive. One was supposed to go from there to the solenoid, but like I said, it's completely missing. The wiring harness was completely hacked. So trying everything back and forth, not trying to mess up any of the wiring. I found these ones here. It's an orange and an orange red, and if you run that directly to power, directly to the positive side of the battery, you'll get spark. There's another one in here somewhere. Let me see here. And then I ran this one, runs to the positive as well. Or actually this one goes to the negative, my mistake. Yeah, so I ran this one, tried to run all the connectors the right way and stuff, the best I could. Sorry guys, I'm working with a new camera I just acquired, so I'm trying to get used to it and trying to see how it works. It's not that bright out here during the day, or during the night. But yeah, I tried to do everything somewhat the right way. And then, okay, so this big cable here goes all the way back and runs underneath the seat, and I grounded it directly to it's like one of the top motor mounts, and so I shined it all up and pretty much was doing everything the right way with like using a file to clean up all the paint and everything that I used for connections wise. I cleaned up on the wire wheel and I was trying to do it kind of somewhat the right way, and then got everything running and I got it to work. I did get to spit and sputter a couple of times, but I think I'd flooded it, so I took the spark plug out and cleaned it. And then, my shift was over, so I was going to come back and work on it a couple days later. And in the process, somebody decided it would be a good idea to send a mechanic over here, and he messed around with all the wiring and ended up losing the ignition coil. So that's the end of this project, because the chances of me finding an ignition coil out here are pretty rare, and I don't feel like spending any money or anything like that. This was just like a fun project. But this is what I came up with, so you got your positive for your battery or whatever, which is hard because the only ones I had to work with were red leads, so you just got to make sure you know which one's your which. That's why I left this one on the negative to not get them confused or whatnot. But I ran, this is the one that goes to the orange red, the actual ignition wire or whatever, and I ran it to this little post right here, and then that way whenever you want to shut it off, you just take the alligator clip off. And I just left notes here of what it was because other people were supposed to be working on it, and I didn't want them to get confused on what I did. But yeah, I looked at a couple other ones on the base that we're at and figure out the shift linkage on how to fix that. Found the box and whatnot here. One more good hard day at work and I could have had this thing probably running pretty decent. I needed to hardwire the, I wanted to find some switches so I could run it out like a legitimate switch on here, and then run another one for the fuel pump because it's got an inline fuel pump. I never tested it, I was just gravity feeding it directly into the carburetor. But yeah, so then there's a couple other random wires like here and there. Like there's another whip over here somewhere. I think it might be completely gone now, but that one was for the front headlights, I assume. There's like a 3-wire, a blue and a yellow and something else. But here we go again, there's another one here. Like I don't know what that is. These are the ones I was testing at first to see if they were ignition. And all I have is like a really crappy multimeter, and I'm not a wire, I don't know how to wire stuff very good. And here this one was a negative. I took this after the battery was hooked up before and just touched it to the positive side of the battery, and it sparked, so I knew it was a negative. So that's the only one that I didn't actually like butt connect properly and whatnot. But the rest of them, I tried my best to clean up all these connections, put new bolts in, make sure everything was tight, use the terminal cleaner, found a halfway decent Humvee battery that was sitting around, charged it up, and then got it to spit and sputter a couple times and start smoking out the exhaust. I just knew that it was flooded and it was ready to go, but I needed to quit working on it because my shift was over. So I came back and tightened up all this wiring the way that it is now, because before I just had jumper wires ran everywhere. And came back and found out that somebody decided to mess with it. That's the problem with when you do shift work, because, you know, other people come in and they want to mess with stuff. They're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to get it going too. But I think it was going to run good because I threw a little bit of oil down the cylinder, so I didn't know exactly how long it had been since it ran, and it actually built up quite a bit of compression, just, you know, testing with my finger or whatever down the hole. But I opened up the radiator, and it was still full of antifreeze. It was a good color, so I don't think it had any leaks there and none of that. Popped off one of the diff covers and checked it, still had oil in it and whatnot in the back, and I think I would have been halfway decent. Could have probably gotten some good use out of it, but I'm guessing that he took the stuff off because I could see where he had a bunch of wires ran over, and he undid all my wiring. So when I came out the next day, the kid that was working on it, he was like a Humvee mechanic, so he works on diesels, and he went to like 6 weeks of school to learn the bare minimum. And of course, people that are higher ranking than him were asking him to come out here and work on this, and he probably was just trying to do his best and test wiring. He had no clue what he was doing, obviously. He undid all my wiring, and I'm guessing when he removed the ignition coil, he broke the wire off because the little butt connector on the top was missing. You could see where it was broken off, and those are usually permanently fixed to the top of the coil. So when I saw it, the spark plug wire was still connected to the spark plug and everything was still there. I went around and messed with all this wiring, and then just double checked to see if it had spark, and realized that the ignition coil was missing. So I'm guessing he took it off to test it and broke it and probably chucked it. And I work a completely different shift. He's in a different unit, so I don't have any way of getting a hold of him. I don't even know who he is. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys an update of what I'm working on, and show you guys I'm working on this new camera that I borrowed from a buddy. Trying to work out a deal to where I can you know, buy it off of him or keep it or somehow, or at least use it for deployment, and we'll figure something out. But it's a pretty nice little Sony, I guess. Yeah, Sony HD CX405. So it's small and it's light and I can throw it in my pocket. But anyway, that's all really I got for now. All these Humvee tires. I don't want to show you guys too much just because some stuff needs to stay somewhat secret, even though what I'm doing is really not that serious. But this was a cool little project, and I was really excited to get it running. And someone pooped all over my dreams. But anyway, it was fun to work on it and learn a little bit of something. I tore apart another different style carburetor. It has like a, I don't know how to explain it. It's really, really weird. Because I worked on a lot of the smaller carburetors, and like the 350X carburetor and all that kind of stuff. They're all a little bit different. I didn't see an accelerator pump, like based on what I've seen, like accelerator pumps wise, like on vehicle carburetors. But had like a slide on it, which was kind of weird. But the slide was like not hooked to anything, like almost like it was like a vacuum, like an automatic choke, like a vacuum choke or something like that. So I did learn a little bit messing around with it, tore apart something different, and watched a bunch of different YouTube videos and stuff like that because I'm terrible with wiring, and looked it up online and was trying to learn how to read a wiring schematic the right way, and just different experience, learned a little bit of something, and you know, hopefully next time that'll actually give me some help. But anyway, that's all for now. Real quick, see that over there? The same people that messed with the Polaris Ranger. Remember how I had that all cleaned up and running good and everything, set, and I put it in its own little spot down below the gravity feed tank, put a little oil drip pan underneath it, like a big 4x4 metal drip pan underneath the whole thing. Found a tarp that fit it perfectly and put some nice rocks next to it and made sure that it couldn't roll or anything like that. Well, they decided they were going to hook it to this water buffalo, and which the water buffaloes, if you don't know, the back part down below here, below the frame, and the very back part, there's a spigot, and that's where the water comes out. So they're trying to run water out of there and up to here, which even the gravity feed tank that I was running didn't have quite enough volume. It wasn't getting quite enough water to build good pressure, and they decided it would be a good idea to just go ahead and try it anyway. So I'm kind of tired of working on stuff like this, and like going pretty much restoring that battery, draining the carburetor, cleaning the carburetor, changing the gas and all that kind of stuff, to have these guys kind of mess around and screw it up on me. So that was a little bit disappointing too, but oh well. I had a good time out there messing around with it and getting it to run decent. It still runs, it still cranks, but it's just annoying when people mess with your stuff. Well, it's not my stuff, but when you fix something like that, you kind of want to take a little bit of pride in it. But anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next video. We'll see if I can get this camera figured out, and hopefully I'll be able to get some more videos while I'm out here. Thanks for watching, guys.